Okay, Fig. Okay. I don't think it's a very easy thing to become a 4-star general, and I certainly don't think it's an easy thing to be on the Thunderbirds. Yes, that's correct. United
Yeah, you got the
Air
right
Force
one.
Thunderbirds.
Nothing's easy.
The question is, personally and professionally, how did you take that culture? Did you get anything from the culture that they established?
Oh, absolutely, Sean, and thank you so very much. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that obviously in this business, there's a tremendous number of heroes. Many of them are sitting right here in the front seats. And there are also heroes that played an extremely important part in many of our lives, and these gentlemen, along with the rest of their classmates and teammates, certainly played a tremendous role in my life. I have walked on their shoulders and in the past with Dave Blaze for many, many years. As was mentioned, I was in the United States Air Force, and I was taught to fly by one of the instructors, civilian instructors, who taught the Tuskegee Airmen, a guy by the name of Cease Ryan, who was at Tennessee State at the time. Mm-hmm. And so right from the beginning of starting my professional life, these gentlemen played a particularly important role. See, no one thought just a young black kid from the cornfields of South Carolina would ever be able to fly an airplane. But these gentlemen gave me that dream, that hope, that vision that in this country, almost anything is possible. They've made the impossible possible for many of us.
Thank you, Fig. And the impossible possible. So I'd like to, and so let's talk to the Tuskegee Airmen. So Colonel McGee, let's start with you. You were an advisor on the movie. George Lucas spent $150, $160, $170 million for this movie. Everybody's got a DVD they get to take home. Did he get it right?
Did I second?
Did
he get it right?
Did George Lucas get the movie right? Did he get the message across?
Certainly did. He had the idea, and he stuck with it because he first thought about it some 20 years ago, and he stayed with it, and Redtails is the result. It brings home the value lessons of the experience, and a lot of folks still didn't know what we had accomplished, and it's certainly an honor for us to stand for the close to 1,000 pilots that were part of the experience, but also most importantly, to stand for close to 14,000 support people that made it possible for what we accomplished. He did it right.
There you go. Thank you very much, Colonel McGee. And this question is to you, Colonel Gray. In 1945, your team earned a presidential citation for downing and damaging enemy aircraft. What was the flight training like at Tuskegee, and how did they train you for your flying skills and compact techniques?
The pilot training that we had at Tuskegee was comparable to the pilot training that all of the other pilots of the United States Army Air Corps had at the time. The only difference between our training and the training of the others is that we had to deal with the dimension of racism. When we got overseas, we flew the same aircraft, and I think our performance in combat was comparable to that of other groups. As a matter of fact, I think we weren't the best necessarily group, but I think we had perhaps the best record with respect to protecting bombers. Okay. And that's what, if we didn't stay with the bombers, Colonel Davis said you get court-martialed.
Did you guys didn't lose any bombers, did you?
Oh yes, we lost some, but it's only human. We don't walk on water. It's impossible to fly 312 missions. A lot of people say it's 311 missions, but I flew a mission on May 12th that was after the April 26th deadline that someone cut off, and that was on the day the VE armistice was signed. It was not the day it went into effect. Mm-hmm. And we had to fly through the Brenner Pass and over Lindsay Aerodrome, see if somebody shoot at us. But I found out, I saw a picture where Erich Hoffmann, who was a German ace, shot down a Russian Yak 9 on May 8th. So I know the war was still on.
You know what's so cool? True aviator fashion, telling it like it is. And I was under the impression they didn't lose an enemy bomber. I was under the impression they're the best of the best, and there's true aviator fashion. They're telling the truth, and that's the Tuskegee Airmen. I mean, let's hear it. That is just awesome. And for you, Colonel Jefferson, there was a culture of excellence, though. And let me finish. And in that culture, was it because you were a brotherhood, because you were black?
That's right.
Brotherhood because you were aviators, or brotherhoods because you were Americans?
Yes, but after 9 months in Germany as a prisoner of war, riding that boat coming back across the Atlantic Ocean, coming to New York Harbor, and the Statue of Liberty, and everybody's waving flags, yay, yay, yay. And I walked down the gangplank, and it's sitting at the bottom of the gangplank, a little white soldier says, whites to the right and niggers to the left. Coming back home after 9 months in Germany. I felt like hell. But I was determined to get back into the struggle. And we took part in all the civil rights movements to help change this society. And we gave President Truman the guts to pick up his pen and sign 9981, which desegregated the military.
There you go.
We're all part of it.
So what you're saying is because you were an American, and you struggled because you were an American.
Exactly.
That's great. Colonel McGee, you hold 409 combat missions. World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flew the P51 Mustang, which I think is Bob Hoover's favorite plane as
Right.
well. Why do you like that one so much?
Well, P51 Mustang, I always have to qualify it with the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. That did the job. And I also tell folks, you know, when you use the word never, you got to qualify it as well. And certainly what we accomplished was creditable, and that's what brought about the change that's so important to our country and part of the value lessons that we like to pass on to our young folks because they are our future.
Can you, I just follow up a little bit on the definition of, your definition of value lessons?
Value lessons are things that we could pass on to the youngsters. In other words, well, I put it in 4 P's. Perceive, find out what you like, what your talents are, but prepare, get the education that's so important. Perform, let excellence be your goal, and persevere. Don't let circumstances be an excuse for not achieving. Those are the value lessons.
And incidentally, at air shows across the country, Redtail shows up. They have a great organization, and they show a movie, and they get the kids in there that talk about those value lessons. I just think it's so well done. It's so entertaining. It's so organically done that the kids want to have those value lessons.
Exactly.
Very true.
And Colonel Jefferson, I'd like to talk a little bit more about your POW experience. You wrote a book. Can you tell us a little bit about the book? Can you tell us a little bit about how the Germans treated you?
Yeah, I'm in the trees trying to get out of this chute, and I hear this voice, Ach so, ja, Leutnant. I said, oh, hell, you got me. These were German enlistee, and throughout all my experience of going up through Frankfurt and Stalag Luft 3, I was treated as an officer and a gentleman. No beatings, no torture. In fact, the Germans knew more about me than I knew about myself. They had all my high school grades. I went to school in Detroit. I went to Clark College in Atlanta. They had all my marks. I went to a year at Howard University. They had all my marks. They opened up a big book, and on the front of the book it said 332nd Fighter Group. They had a picture of every class, had my class picture. In fact, in my book, they got my class picture, and the guy says, Lieutenant, isn't that you? What could I say? Stalag, which means camp, Luft means air, Stalag Luft 3 in Poland had 10,000 white American flying officers who had been shot down over German-occupied territory. The Germans had information on every man. And somebody said, how in the hell can that happen? Well, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, what happened to the Japanese Americans? They interred them. When we declared war on Germany, or Germany declared war on the United States, what happened to the German Americans? Nothing. German Americans were able to walk around and go into every place and send information back to Germany. I was treated as an officer and a gentleman. No beatings, no torture, and by the way, I was treated better in Stalag Luft 3 than I would have been treated in Mississippi at that time. It shows you how things have changed. 9 months in Germany. I only lost 4 pounds. Hell, I only started at 115 anyway.
Colonel Gray, in 2007, the surviving Tuskegee Airmen won the Congressional Gold Medal. Civilians, it's the highest honor for a civilian. There was 900 men received training, 350 were sent overseas, and only 50 were able to attend the Capitol building. What were your emotions then when you were there to receive that medal?
Well, I guess anybody would have to acknowledge the fact that it was sort of a thrill to be so recognized. It's sort of humbling, too, because we were just trying to do our job, and we did it the best we could. And fortunately, it was recognized as perhaps above average. And those who were able to get to Washington to receive the medal were, I mean, hey, it was a struggle. Because you should have seen the guys struggling to get down there. But it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And it was something that recognized, I think over 16,000 people have been recognized as documented original Tuskegee Airmen. And as you indicated, only 356 of us were Redtail pilots. But we all shared, because we certainly couldn't have done our job without the help of the cooks who fed us, without the help of the nurses who took care of us,
The nurses.
or the mechanics who took care of the airplanes. All we did was fly them.
That's it. As the mechanic said, it's not your plane, Lieutenant. My plane. I'll let you use it.
Bring it back.
Damn it, bring it back.
So we only got a few minutes left, and I'd like General Newton to give us some final thoughts.
Sean, thanks very much. And again, thanks to these great heroes that we have here on the stage with us for sharing their great stories in this venue. It is interesting to me how the nexus of aviation, which is what we're here for, how that and the struggle of the Tuskegee Airmen came together. With these gentlemen, again, coming to Tuskegee down in Alabama and flying airplanes, which was very new, even to our society at that time. But that provided the venue then for some very extraordinary things, I think, to happen in the United States of America. They drove a lot of that happening. But again, because we're here with aviation, it tells me one more time how important aviation has been to our nation, how important these individuals have been to helping to create an environment where we all can have dreams and really accomplish the American dream. It has been an extraordinary part of my life, and it's so great to see these young gentlemen coming along. Now, there's a group of youngsters that are sitting immediately to my right here. Someone was chatting just the other day, and I told them this morning, I don't know what you gentlemen are taking, but I'd love to have some of it.
I know what it is.
Because I want to look just like they are, because they are in their 90s and late 80s.
December 7th.
I know what it is.
December 7th, this young man will be 93
Wow.
years old.
Okay, and here's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. These men here have that passion. Their spark within is still fired up, and they're ready to go, and they make the world a better place. And thank you so much for being here and sharing it with us. To the Tuskegee Airmen.